We bring you this video segment every morning to help you catch up with things that have been taking place in the world of sport whilst you were getting up on some all-important rest. Because let's face it, whilst you need sleep, I need sleep, the whole world really needs sleep. The world of sport does not really sleep. There's always something or the other going on. There's always some new development or the other to be tracking. So unless you're someone who's awake 24/7, it's not always going to be possible to keep abreast with the latest developments. But worry not, that's what we're here for, and what we were going to do in this video is catch you up with all of the interesting things that have been taking place in the world of sports. So without further ado, let's get to it straight away, and let's first go back to the IPL match that took place last night between the Chennai Super Kings and the Punjab Kings. Now, the Battle of the Kings was won by Punjab, who actually now have a very impressive record against CSK in recent times. They've not lost a match actually to them in like 5 games or something like that. So it's pretty good. But one thing that has to be noted with CSK is that they are now going to be hit with a number of unavailabilities as far as players are concerned. So post-match, Stephen Fleming revealed that the prognosis on Deepak Chahar's latest injury, initial scans at least, do not look good, and so he's hoping that when the reports do come back around, when the physios and the doctors have taken a look at everything, that maybe it's a little better thing, but initially it just doesn't look good as things stand. Now, to compound their woes even further, yesterday was Mustafizur Rahman's last match. Now, he's going to be leaving the IPL and will be reporting for national duty with Bangladesh. So, he's going to be now unavailable for the remainder of the tournament. To then make things worse, their 2 Sri Lanka players, that is Mahesh Theekshana and Matisha Patarana, will have to fly back home to sort out their visas for the USA and West Indies, because of course they'll have to be flying with the national team for the T20 World Cup set to take place from June 1st onwards. So that means that as things stand, CSK could very well be without a number of players in their playing 11. In fact, already there's no fizz for at least a game or two. They may not have a Theekshana or a Patarana to of, let's say, unavailabilities that they are going to be struck with, and it doesn't do it's not going to be very good for them. Let's just put it that way. Another bit of interesting cricket news, and since we're talking about T20s and the T20 World Cup, one of the teams that many people were left a little surprised hadn't announced their squad or provisional squad for the T20 World Cup in 2015. Well, that was Pakistan, because again the deadline was in fact May 1st and it's May 2nd. They haven't announced it yet. A lot of people were asking. The truth is that they don't need to announce it to the world. They just need to inform the ICC, and they would have of course done that. But now a leaked copy of that team sheet or whatever the squad will be has, let's say, been doing the rounds on social media, and while we cannot really verify the veracity of how it is that the squad will look, because again we've not gotten an official word from the PCB in this regard, we can in fact tell you what it is that the league squad looks like. So there are a couple of changes to what was expected in this regard. So of course there are veterans like Imad Wasim and Mohammad Amir, both of whom who of course veterans. Amir recently stepped out of retirement because he wants to be winning another trophy with Pakistan. Now, one player who is very interestingly missing is Iftikhar Ahmed. Now, Iftikhar Ahmed, I would say, is probably one of their finer T20 players, bowls some useful off spin, very good power hitter lower down the order. So him not being in the squad, if that is really the case, would be a little bit surprising. What's not surprising is that they have a few younger players who will of course be on standby as travelling reserves, and those players are the Zaman Khan, Azam Khan and Mehran Mumtaz. Other than that, the squad really boasts no major surprises. Babar Azam will be leading them. Mohammad Rizwan is been named as vice captain, despite the fact that we don't really know what his injury or fitness status is, but it's no real surprise that he's been named the vice captain either. Moving forward now to some more interesting news. We were talking about CSK, and there was a lot of talk yesterday about the kind of strategy that CSK use when it comes to, let's say, always saving Dhoni for the death. And a lot of us, even here at Sports Day, have been questioning, is that why is it that no one seems to be saving any spinners to bowl to Dhoni? Because more often than not, he does tend to struggle to get going against spinners. Well, Punjab Kings did just that, because they had 1 over of Rahul Chahar left, and immediately Sam Curran deployed him when MS Dhoni came out. So what was the inspiration behind that? I had hypothesized that it's probably because Curran is, former CSK player, has played alongside Dhoni, probably know a thing or two about Dhoni's weaknesses in that regard. But interestingly, it was a ploy that came from Riley Russo. Yes, you heard that right. Riley Russo had actually suggested to Karan that maybe he should keep on over a swing because it might turn out to be useful. Sam Curran, to his credit, listened, did just that, and well, the results were pretty good. Not only did that 119th over ensure that CSK were at an under par total, it also made Punjab's chase much easier, even though it never really was in doubt. Even if they've got maybe 20 runs more, I think Punjab would have chased it down at a canter. It says a lot that Rituraj Gaikwad said after the match that we were about 50, 60 runs short. That's how much the deficit was. Now, speaking of course, Dhoni's role as a finisher and one that he's really been excelling at this season. I mean, it says a lot that yesterday against PBKS was the first time this season he got out. So now he actually has an official average as far as the IPL 2024 is concerned, and it's a staggering 110. Now, one of the reasons that this is being done, at least according to KKR mentor Gautam Gambhir, is that one, they've given Dhoni the full freedom to pick wherever it is he wants to bat, and it's a ploy that secondly has been working very, very well for them in the past 2-3 years. In fact, he said that having that freedom really has allowed Dhoni to make an impact, because what happens if you come in with 3-4 overs, 5-6 overs even left, you may have to do a little bit of consolidation. He's saying now the Dhoni doesn't have to worry about that. He's coming out right at the end. He knows go hell for leather, and that's really the only ploy. There's no other backup option, and that's helping him do really, really well. Anyhow, now switching our focus from the world of cricket to the world of football, we've seen one good Champions League match take place yesterday. It was yesterday, in fact, between Real Madrid and Bayern Munich, and now the second leg also took place. And surprise, surprise, it is Borussia Dortmund who have, let's say, taken a 1-0 lead going into the second leg. Yes, it was played at the Signal Iduna Park, so it definitely gave them a home advantage, but you cannot rule PSG out just yet, because the second leg is going to be in Paris, and guess what? They're going to be riding on their home support to ensure that they can make it through to the final. But the good news for them, really, by Dortmund that is that they managed to get the win courtesy of a goal from Nicholas Fulkrug and a very, very good performance from Manchester United loanee Jadon Sancho. Now, Fulkrug actually has a bit of an interesting story. He's been something of a journeyman striker. He's 31 years old, and 2 years back to this date was playing second division football in Germany. 2 years later, he's playing for one of Germany's top clubs, and not only that, scoring in a semi-final of the Champions League. Life sometimes comes at you very interestingly, but I mean, that is a heartwarming story to say the least. So that's the Champions League news. One bad news really for the Premier League clubs, but very good news for clubs from Germany and Italy, is that come next season onwards, when the coefficient points would kick in and allow two particular leagues an extra spot at the Champions League. Most people were assuming that the Premier League would get it, but now we know for a fact that the Premier League will be missing out on that fifth spot next season, because the coefficient points that they can get, the maximum number, would be lower than clubs from Germany and Italy. So that means that Germany and Italy will be the teams who get that extra spot, that fifth spot, which will be allowing their teams to qualify for the Champions League. Very, very interesting, and a pretty big, let's say, blow for the so-called best league in the world, the Premier League. Now, speaking of course, Premier League sides, Aston Villa, one side really that would be disappointed with the fact that that fifth spot is not there, because they're currently in fifth position, and now it means they have to work extra hard to get top four. But according to their manager Unai Emery, the main focus is going to be on clawing the gap and ensuring that they can make it to the top four, rather than their Conference League semi-final, which will be taking place this week. And in fact, it's a historic one for Aston Villa, because it's their first European major semi-final in 42 years. And in fact, should they win the Conference League, then they are guaranteed to qualify for the Europa League anyway, although they're in fifth position, so they're going to be qualifying come what may. But his focus right now is top four and not necessarily the semi-final. But as he said, our players are going to be doing their best to focus on both. It's not one or the other. We want to be doing well in both instances, which is fair enough, but I think it will be interesting to see what it is that he prioritizes. Are they going to be playing a second string team when it comes to Thursday? That's something we'll know in a little while. Switching our focus now, and a little bit of tennis news for you from the Madrid Open. Carlos Alcaraz, the defending champion, has been knocked out. Yes, you heard that right. Andrei Rublev is the person who ended up, dealing the killer blow to the young Spaniard, who, by the way, was one set up, but then ended up losing two back-to-back sets to Rublev. Rublev rallied really well to ensure that he could knock Alcaraz out. Bit of a blow for Alcaraz when you consider that, one, he would be seen as the one person who'd be likeliest to stop another Djokovic slam. And second is the fact that, of course, now with the Nadal waning, you want Alcaraz to step up and take on that particular spot. But him losing in the Madrid semi-final, Really, really, really unfortunate. However, one good news from the women's side of the draw is the defending champion Arina Sabalenka, who's of course the second seed in this particular tournament and also the defending champion. Well, she ended up getting a pretty straightforward 6-1, 6-4 win over the Russian teenager Mira Andreeva, which means that she will, of course, be playing the semi-finals 2 wins away now from retaining her title. Last bit of news, racket sports, but this time with an Indian twist. The Indian women's team, unfortunately, have been knocked out of the Uber Cup. Why? Because they did get register wins against Canada and Singapore, but the defeat to China left them on thin ice, and now they have lost the tie to Japan as well. It is unfortunate, but it's also worth noting that this particular team is comprised a lot of young players, and so for them it was as much of a learning experience as anyone else. And it is worth noting also that what we've seen, the flashes that we've seen from these young badminton players does suggest that the future for Indian badminton is bright. It's just that it is a bit of a lean phase and it's going to be a bit lean, but once these stars actually start developing even further, then you might be hopeful of more glory in the not so distant future. And that's it from us on this edition of the Morning Wrap with Sports Today. Thank you guys so much for joining us as always. If you enjoy our work, please don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap that bell icon, leave us a comment. Follow us also on social media. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Don't forget to download the SportsTech app. And if you're already on the channel, go ahead, check out some other videos we've done as well. And stay tuned. We have plenty more coming your way through the day. For now, though, from my side, it's goodbye.